I have 7 childhood sweethearts I grew up with. Each of them is stunningly beautiful and incredibly talented, top figures in their respective fields. Most importantly, they all love me to death. One of them even threatened to jump off a building for me. Everyone thought I'd surely choose one of them to be my fiancée, but without a moment's hesitation, I chose Clara, the heiress of the SIU family, my sworn rival. Because those 7 childhood sweethearts would never have dreamed that I had already heard their true feelings. Their so-called love was all a facade, a calculated performance to please me. Their real goal, to make sure their adopted younger brother, Daniel, could continue living off the wealth and power of my family. Since that's the case, on the day I get engaged, everything the Wong family has given them, they'll pay back double. Chapter 1. I'm the sole heir of a powerful financial conglomerate. I have 7 childhood sweethearts. They all cater to my every whim, except for Daisy, who treats me like I'm invisible, cold as an iceberg. Because of that, I became obsessed with Daisy. I even turned into a simp for her, until one day I saw Daisy cornering Daniel against a wall and confessing her love with deep emotion. Daniel, the same guy she always claimed was her biological brother. Dad, I've made up my mind. I'm marrying the SIU family heiress. I marched into my father's study and declared it firmly. The SIU heiress? You mean Clara Shu? The one who's been crying about marrying you since she was 3? Sure, the Shu family is filthy rich and Clara is gorgeous. Marrying her is clearly the optimal choice. But haven't you always liked Daisy? My dad asked in confusion. Besides Daisy, didn't I also raise 6 other childhood sweethearts for you? Any one of them would die for you. Why not just pick one of them to marry? Isn't that better than marrying some hot-headed heiress you'll have to constantly placate? At that, I gave a bitter laugh. Just a day ago, I also believed that aside from Daisy, the other 6 childhood sweethearts love me madly. I thought if I asked them to rip their hearts out for me, they wouldn't even hesitate. But last night, I accidentally overheard their secret. When do you think that idiot Ethan will realize that Daniel isn't actually Daisy's biological brother? That was Bella speaking, one of my childhood sweethearts. She once went so far as to fake a suicide jump for me. But now, swirling a wine glass in her hand, her face was full of mockery. That fool Ethan probably thinks I'm head over heels for him. In reality, I only pretended to jump because I wanted to scare him away. Same here. Every day, I force myself to suck up to Ethan, even though it disgusts me, because I know he hates simps. Haha. Looks like we all had the same strategy. Whatever Ethan doesn't like, we act like that. That way he'll avoid picking any of us. Then we'll all have a fair shot at chasing Daniel. Only Daisy didn't fake anything. And of course, that masochist Ethan fell for her. Honestly, I should pity Daisy for like 1 second. We don't really have a choice, though. Someone has to marry Ethan, or how else can Daniel keep living as the little prince of the Wong family? Silently, I clenched my fists. My whole body trembled from the rage. All 7 of them were orphans. It was my father who adopted them. The Wong family owns a vast empire, and I'm his only son. Dad hoped to raise the perfect wife for me, someone who could help me manage the family business in the future. So my father went to an orphanage and adopted 7 genius girls to be my friends. Among them, Daisy had the highest IQ, the most stunning looks, and was also Dad's absolute favorite. But when the adoption paperwork was being finalized, Daisy said, I have a younger brother named Daniel. I won't leave my brother behind. If you want to adopt me, you have to adopt him too. Back then, I thought, if Daisy treats her brother so well, she'll surely treat her future husband just as lovingly. So I begged Dad to adopt Daniel as well. That's how Daniel became a foster son of the Wong family. From that moment on, whatever I had, Daniel had too. The 7 childhood sweethearts also doted on Daniel, especially Daisy, who practically spoiled him like he was made of gold. Sometimes I'd get jealous, but the girls would always scold me. Come on, young master, you're being so petty. Jealous of your own little brother? We all grew up with Daniel in the orphanage. We see him as our real little brother. Ethan, you have everything, but Daniel only has us, his big sisters. Over time, even I started wondering, was I really just being small-minded? But now, hearing their mocking laughter echoing in my ears, I finally woke up. It wasn't that I was being petty, it was that these women were all Oscar-level actresses. Just as I stood there burning with rage, a familiar voice floated from the garden nearby. I followed the sound, and what I saw next shattered everything I thought I knew. Daisy, the girl who always acted so aloof, was grabbing Daniel by the collar and pinning him against the wall. Then she whispered tenderly, "Daniel, you know you're the only one I love, but I can't give you marriage. So I can't sleep with you? Then don't marry Ethan, okay?" Daniel pleaded, "If you marry Ethan, I'll stop talking to you." Daisy's voice turned cold. "I don't want to marry him either, but the Wong family took us in. We owe them. Daniel, if you behave, even if I do marry Ethan, it'll only be marriage in name. I won't let him touch me, and I won't give him a single ounce of love." Chapter 2. Thinking back to everything that happened last night, I silently clenched my fists. I don't need Daisy's pity. I'm the sole heir of the powerful Wong conglomerate. How could I possibly be short of women? If Daisy doesn't want to marry me, there are plenty of others who do. I spoke up. "Dad, you don't need to persuade me anymore. Clara is great. I can feel that she genuinely likes me. As for Bella and the others, they only obey me because of their childhood sweetheart status." I lowered my eyes, hiding the loneliness brimming in them. But I quickly pulled myself together, lifted my head, and said to my father, "Dad, there's one more thing. Since I'm not marrying those 7 childhood sweethearts, there's no reason for our family to keep supporting them. Freeze all the funds in their accounts and Daniel's. Cancel all his bank cards. The Wong family won't feed freeloaders, all right?" Dad nodded. "Since you're not marrying them, there really is no reason to keep them around. On your wedding day, I'll make sure they all leave the Wong household, in case they start having second thoughts and try to fight you for the inheritance." After talking with my father, I left the study. But just as I reached the top of the stairs, I bumped right into Daniel. "I heard you're going to horseback riding class this afternoon. Can I come with you?" Daniel looked up at me with hope in his eyes. "I want to learn too. Please, brother, take me along." If this were before, I definitely would have agreed. I'm not a petty person. If I were in a good mood, I might have even paid for Daniel's lessons myself. But now, after everything that happened last night, I just felt disgusted. With a heart full of revulsion, I pushed Daniel's hand away. "Stay away from me." I didn't even use much strength, but Daniel exaggeratedly stumbled back, then conveniently fell down the stairs. "Daniel!" Daisy's panicked voice rang out from downstairs. I looked down and saw all the childhood sweethearts gathered below. "Ethan, how could you be so cruel?" Alicia, the most hot-tempered of the girls, was the first to speak up. "What did Daniel do wrong that you had to push him down the stairs?" "Don't say that, sis," Daniel quickly said. "It's not brother's fault. I just didn't stand properly." He looked so cautious, and as he spoke, his eyes began to redden, like he'd just suffered something unbearable. And of course, it worked. The girls looked at me with thinly veiled hatred, especially Daisy. Her eyes were so cold, I couldn't even meet them. But she didn't say a word, just gave me one icy glance and left with Daniel. She didn't give me a chance to explain it all. I gave a bitter laugh. "It's fine. I didn't want to explain anyway. No matter how I explain, they won't believe me anyway." The horseback riding class in the afternoon was originally meant for just Daisy and me. But when I arrived at the equestrian field, I saw that Daniel was there, too. Daniel gave me a flattering smile. "Brother, sis told me to come, but don't worry, I won't get in your way. You two ride together, and I'll just have the coach teach me on the side." His words sounded nice, but once the lesson began, Daisy stayed right by Daniel's side the entire time. She personally saddled his horse and carefully helped him mount. Daniel didn't know how to ride, so Daisy taught him hand in hand. When Daniel got tired and wanted to dismount, Daisy knelt halfway to the ground, letting him step down using her shoulder. That moment pierced right through me, because once I had also mounted a horse by stepping on Daisy's shoulder. But back then, Daisy didn't do it willingly. Dad was there that day, too. He had said, "Daisy, if you marry Ethan in the future, you'll be his only wife. And as a woman, you need to learn how to serve your husband. Today I'm going to set some rules for you. Kneel down and let Ethan mount using your shoulder. If you become my daughter-in-law, you'll have everything you ever wanted. But after marriage, Ethan comes first. He'll be your whole world. You'll bow to him and obey him completely. You don't need to care about anyone else's dignity, only his." Chapter 3. Dad didn't mean to humiliate Daisy. He just saw through the deep-rooted pride buried in her bones. She was a genius girl, intelligent beyond measure. When she lived in poverty, she could still hide that arrogance. But after living in luxury in our household, The pride that came with her brilliance could no longer be concealed. Dad feared that one day her pride would lead her to betray me, so he took that moment to warn her. Back then, I was still young. When I stepped on Daisy's shoulder, I felt bad for her. I even hesitated, reluctant to do it. But I didn't notice how her eyes in that moment were filled with humiliation. And now, watching Daisy willingly kneel down so Daniel could step off the horse using her shoulder, it was like someone threw a handful of needles into my eyes. The sting was unbearable. She felt humiliated kneeling for me, but kneeling for my younger brother, that she was happy to do. I forced myself to look away and gave my horse a kick. Higher. The horse took off obediently as I rode. The wind rushing past gave me a fleeting sense of freedom and helped ease the heaviness in my chest. Today's training was a jumping course. I had to ride the horse over 3 hurdles, a high-difficulty obstacle challenge. But just as the horse leapt into the air, ready to clear the first barrier, the strap securing the saddle suddenly snapped. Completely unprepared, I was flung off the horse and crashed straight to the ground. Startled, the horse panicked and began charging wildly. A frightened horse could trample me at any second. And yet at that moment, the one who was supposed to protect me, Daisy, was still glued to Daniel's side. She hadn't even noticed I had fallen off. "Daisy," I shouted through gritted teeth, during the stabbing pain shooting through my body. Only then did Daisy realize my horse had gone wild. She calmly stepped forward and easily brought the horse under control. Daisy had trained in animal handling. That's why Dad had assigned her to accompany me during horseback lessons. She was supposed to check my saddle, monitor my ride, and make sure I was safe. But now all her attention was on Daniel. She hadn't even noticed my saddle hadn't been fastened properly. In the end, I broke my leg and was hospitalized. Maybe to atone, Daisy volunteered to take care of me during my stay. She was incredibly attentive. If I was thirsty, water was already at my lips before I even spoke. If my wound hurt, she noticed a faint frown and immediately came over to give me painkillers. After I took the meds, she'd always have my favorite dried plums ready, just so I wouldn't be left with a bitter taste in my mouth. She was always like this. Clearly, she didn't love me, but her care was so meticulous, it made me doubt myself. Maybe she did love me. Maybe she was just cold by nature, not good at showing it. But how could she not know how to show it when she was with Daniel? The affection in her eyes nearly overflowed. A few days later, my leg was almost healed. That night, I got up to use the restroom and unintentionally overheard someone talking in the hallway. Just then, I heard a voice. It was one of the childhood sweethearts, Bella. "Daisy, don't you think you went too far?" she said. "You intentionally cut Ethan's saddle strap. Even if Ethan pushed Daniel down the stairs, you can't just do something like that. Falling off a horse isn't a joke. He could have snapped his neck." Daisy let out a barely audible sigh. "I only meant to give him a small punishment. I didn't expect he'd get hurt so badly that day." Daisy was an expert equestrian. She had calculated beforehand that if the horse didn't jump, a fall wouldn't be dangerous. She had known I was practicing obstacle jumps that day. The horse didn't just jump, it soared. "I've already made amends, Bella. These past few days, I've given him whatever he asked for. That's enough to make up for it anyway. He's fine now. Let's just drop it. No one needs to bring this up again." At that moment, an unexplainable chill swept through my entire body. So she had deliberately cut the saddle strap just to get back at me for Daniel's fall. All that attentive care over the past few days was nothing but compensation for a miscalculation, not because she felt sorry I got hurt. I clenched my fists so hard my bones creaked, but I didn't feel a thing, because the pain in my chest drowned everything else out. Chapter 4. The next day I was discharged from the hospital. Daisy came to pick me up in her car, but I didn't even glance at her. I walked straight over and got into Bella's car. Bella was beautiful and witty. She kept trying to make me laugh the whole ride, but I couldn't force a smile. "Ethan, are you feeling down?" Bella gently held my hand. "There's an auction today. Let me take you. Retail therapy really works. Once we get there, you can raise your paddle for anything you want, and I'll cover it." I replied offhandedly. Why pretend to be generous? Isn't it all Wong family money anyway? Don't underestimate me, okay? Bella chuckled. Daisy isn't the only genius girl in the Wong family who knows how to make money. But I've been investing overseas all these years, and I've made quite a bit myself. Don't worry, your wife can afford to spoil you. I finally cracked a smile. Well, then I guess I'll have to bleed you dry today. Drive. Let's hit the auction. The auction hall was buzzing with excitement. Many socialites and elites were present. Tonight's most anticipated item was a men's wristwatch called End of Time. Its transparent face was painstakingly crafted from blue diamonds. I've always loved collecting luxury watches, and this one was a must-have for me. But just as I took my seat, Daisy walked in, accompanied by Daniel. The smile on my face froze. A bad feeling rose in my chest. Daniel was going to bid against me for End of Time. Sure enough, the moment the watch was displayed, Daniel raised his paddle. But then he noticed that I was also bidding. After a few minutes of hesitation, he reluctantly lowered his paddle, his face filled with conflict. So brother wants End of Time, too? Daniel said with a forced smile. Then I won't fight you for it. I could never take something my brother loves. He lowered his gaze after speaking, and I caught a faint shimmer of tears in his eyes, like he had been wronged. Daisy's expression turned cold in an instant. The look she gave me was tinged with disdain. Daniel, as long as I'm here, there's no need for you to hold back. Whatever you want, go for it. Your sister has enough money to back you up. Before Daniel could even respond, Daisy raised her own paddle. 100 million. The entire auction hall went silent. Several socialites gasped out loud, stunned by the number. Once the shock settled, the whispers started. What's going on? Isn't Daisy Ethan's woman? Why is she buying such an expensive watch for another man? And not just any watch. She's bidding on the exact one Ethan wanted. She's completely humiliating him. Poor Ethan, the heir of a powerful family, and he's getting publicly slapped in the face by his own woman. That's brutal. I clenched my fists silently. I had been spoiled by my father my whole life, but right now, Daisy had turned me into a joke. To be so blatantly disregarded by the woman I once believed in, the humiliation rose inside me, wave after wave. Out of sheer fury, I raised my hand and made the sky lantern gesture, because no one gets to trample me like that. Chapter 5. Light the Sky Lantern. Mr. Wong has lit the sky lantern. Congratulations to Mr. Wong for successfully winning the End of Time, the host exclaimed excitedly. At that moment, I felt like the suffocating pressure in my chest had finally eased. But when it came time to pay, the organizers told me my card had been frozen. That's impossible. I frowned. My card has no spending limit. No matter how much is charged, it shouldn't be frozen. I asked the organizers to try again. The card still wouldn't go through. Just then, Bella walked over playfully. Hubby, didn't we agree I'd cover it today? Use mine. She handed over her card with a smile, but hers was declined too. How is this possible? Bella frowned, her face full of disbelief. The crowd erupted into a murmur. Someone even laughed out loud. Has the Wong family gone bankrupt? Can't even cough up 100 million. Why light a sky lantern if you don't have the money? What a joke. Countless sneers pierced my ears, and I felt my face burn with shame. Sitting among the audience, Daisy had finally had enough fun. She stood up. Slowly and gracefully, she pulled out a black bank card and handed it to the staff. Use mine this time. The payment went through. The organizers handed the End of Time over to Daisy, and right there in front of everyone, Daisy placed the End of Time on Daniel's wrist. At that moment, I truly became the biggest laughingstock in the entire auction hall. That manipulative bitch, Bella muttered under her breath. Our cards didn't work. This has to be Daisy's doing. She's a top-tier hacker. I saw her open her laptop just now. She must have hacked our accounts and froze our bank cards, so we couldn't pay. My eyes turned bloodshot and my heart ached painfully. So that's it. It was all Daisy's plan to humiliate me. After she finished putting the End of Time on Daniel's wrist, Daisy's beautiful, fox-like eyes glanced coldly at Bella. If you don't have what it takes, stop trying to act tough. Then she looked at me and spoke calmly. You should have gotten in my car. I gave a bitter smile. But your car already has someone in it. With that, I turned and left without looking back at Daisy once. Because of the disgrace at the auction, I locked myself in my room for days, refusing to go out. Bella came to check on me a few times and even brought my favorite pastries, but I barely responded. Because I knew Bella didn't truly care about me. She said it herself that night. To make me stay away from her, she was even willing to jump off a building. Ethan has been hiding in his room for days. We need to find a way to coax him out, or if word gets to old Master Wong, it's going to be a mess. So annoying. I don't want to go. I need to stay with Daniel. You think I don't want to be with Daniel? Stick to the rules. Only after coaxing Ethan can we take turns being with Daniel. In the living room, her 6 childhood sweethearts sat together, all trying to avoid the task. None of them wanted to come upstairs and talk to me, but what they didn't know was I heard every word. Ever since I accidentally discovered the secrets of my childhood sweethearts last time, I secretly installed pinhole cameras and audio bugs throughout the house. I didn't want to be the clueless fool anymore. I wanted to hear with my own ears what these 7 girls were saying behind my back. I'm not going, Bella said angrily. It's always Daisy who pisses off Ethan, and then we're the ones sent to coax him. Why should we? Whoever caused the problem should be the one to fix it. Just then, Daisy's graceful figure suddenly appeared on the surveillance feed. There's no need for you to go, Daisy said coldly. I'll handle my own men. No need to trouble any of you. With that, she turned and headed upstairs with a gift box in hand. I quickly shut off the monitor, so I didn't see the furious expressions on the other girls' faces. She's getting way too cocky, Alicia said, clenching her fists. Ethan hasn't even chosen her yet. Who does she think she is, calling him her man? Upon hearing that, Bella gave a wistful smile. Does it really matter? Ethan is bound to choose her anyway. We're all just background players. Chapter 6. I clearly locked the door, yet Daisy still managed to open it effortlessly. You need to leave, I said coldly. And just so we're clear, locking the door means no. It means I don't want you coming in. If you're going to break in, at least don't do it so openly and shamelessly. Daisy smiled. Sorry, bad habit. I picked up back when I was living on the streets. She said this while quietly sitting down next to me. Back then, I was broke and starving. Sometimes I had to resort to petty theft just to fill my stomach. Daisy said, her voice carrying a hint of sorrow. During those days darker than night, the only one who stayed by my side was Daniel. He's the most important person in my life at this point. Daisy paused. She turned her head and looked at me. Her jet black eyes were like a bottomless abyss. No one could truly see through her. Ethan, I'm actually very grateful that your father took Daniel and me in, Daisy said. And I'm willing to do anything for you. But on one condition. You have to accept Daniel. Daniel is my younger brother. He's my only family in this world, and I won't allow anyone to hurt him, not even you. For a moment, I almost believed what she said, until she said, Daniel is my younger brother. Younger brother? What kind of real siblings confess love to each other? She's a liar. So what you mean is, even if we get married in the future, you'll still put Daniel before everything else? I asked with a smile. Exactly, Daisy admitted without the slightest hesitation. Daniel will always be my #1 priority. But once we're married, I'll still do everything old Master Wong expects. I'll respect you, love you forever, protect you, and never let you experience even a tiny bit of unhappiness. I kept smiling so hard it made my eyes ache. Daisy, you say you won't let me be even a little unhappy. But do you even realize that all my unhappiness comes from you? I was born into a noble identity. The patience I showed before was because of love. But at this moment, hearing her hypocrisy, I didn't want to endure it any longer. Your precious little brother, he's nothing more than a sissy flirt who seduces his own sister. What right does he have to be compared to me? After hearing my words, Daisy's expression visibly worsened. She stayed in my room for less than 5 minutes before she was called away by a phone call from Daniel. Before she left, Daisy left behind a gift box. Inside the box was a brand new Rolex watch. Though still very luxurious, it clearly didn't compare to the end of time. Everything happened just like Daisy had promised. She would go along with me, but only a little. Daniel would always come first, and I could only ever be second. I glanced at the gift box, then threw it into the trash without a second thought. My woman must put me first in everything. If I can only be second, then I don't want this woman at all. Soon it was my birthday. This was my 21st birthday. The old man had said that on my 21st birthday he would officially announce who my future wife would be. So this birthday banquet was grander than ever before. All the prominent figures in City A were present. I was wearing a custom-made luxury suit that I had ordered long ago. Unfortunately, the end of time had been snatched by Daniel. Otherwise, it would have matched my suit perfectly. Just then, a waiter suddenly knocked on the door and came in, carrying an exquisite gift box in his hands. Mr. Wong, Miss Clara sent me, the waiter said respectfully. Miss Clara, heard that you were upset about losing the watch at the auction, so she specially commissioned another one for you, made from pigeon blood red diamond. As he spoke, the waiter opened the gift box. The box glowed with brilliance. The dark red diamond dial instantly outshone everything around it. Among diamonds, pigeon blood red is the rarest and most valuable. This watch is called Eternal Love, said the waiter. Miss Clara said that blue diamonds are impure colors, while red diamonds are the real nobility. A rare smile surfaced on my face. I put on Eternal Love, and at once, the aura of prestige radiated from my wrist. Marriage, how could it ever be the same no matter who you marry? At that moment, I felt incredibly lucky that I had chosen Clara. Once everything was ready, I opened the bedroom door and was just about to step out, only to see Daniel standing right in front of me. Brother. Daniel approached, seemingly wanting to say something, but when his eyes landed on the pigeon blood red diamond watch on my wrist, his smile froze instantly. Where did you get that watch? He asked, then quickly changed his tone. Did my sister give it to you? I coldly shook off. None of your business. But in Daniel's eyes, a flicker of jealousy and hatred flashed. Ethan, do you seriously think my sister actually likes you? She's in love with me. She doesn't like you at all. She's only marrying you out of gratitude to old Master Wong. She's stomaching her disgust just to repay a favor. As he spoke, Daniel took out his phone and played a video for me. In the video, it seemed Daniel had been upset that Daisy was going to marry me, so he tried to leave in protest. Daisy had gone mad, locked him up, and wouldn't let him go. She fed him with her own hands, helped him put on shoes, and confessed her love to him over and over, promising she would love him forever. She even vowed that even if she married me in the future, she would remain physically loyal to Daniel and let me be a living widower. Her body and heart would always belong to Daniel forever. See that? Even if she marries you, my sister will never let you touch her. She only loves me. Has she ever gone crazy like that for you? If you know what's good for you, don't pick my sister tonight. Out of my other 6 simps, you can take your pick. I've slept with all 6 anyway. Bella's the best in bed and Alicia is the wildest one. Whichever you choose, they'll serve you well. But if you pick my sister, she'll only make you live like a monk. Ha ha ha. Think carefully before you make your move. Chapter 7. Listening to all that filthy, obscene talk, I couldn't take it anymore. I swung my fist and punched Daniel hard. Shut up. You're no better than an animal in heat. So desperate you can't control yourself. You're disgusting. But the moment my punch landed, I felt an icy gaze pierce me from behind. I froze instantly. As I turned around, I locked eyes with Daisy's cold, emotionless stare. She looked at me coldly without saying a single word. And that was the worst part, because I knew Daisy well. If you so much as lay a finger on Daniel, she always gets revenge. That woman may have come from humble beginnings, but she's got a twisted, vengeful streak. Because of that, I was uneasy the entire birthday banquet. Nervous, on edge, terrified that at any second Daisy might strike me down in the most subtle and ruthless way. But strangely enough, the entire banquet went off without a hitch. Nothing unusual happened. Soon it was noon. The old man was about to announce who I would marry in the future. The room buzzed with excitement, and the guests murmured among themselves. Ethan will definitely pick Daisy. Everyone in the circle knows he's her simp. Daisy's not only gorgeous, but also incredibly smart and capable. If she marries into the Wong family and takes over the Wong Corporation, who in the business world could even compete with her? Maybe only Clara Shu from the Shu family stands a chance? I heard Clara has been chasing Ethan for years, but... Exactly. Clara, so pitiful. Chased Ethan for so long and didn't even get an invite to today's event. Now she has to watch helplessly as the man she loves marries her biggest rival. Hearing all these whispers, I couldn't help but smile to myself. I snuck a glance at Clara and saw that she was looking at me, too. Her eyes were full of affection, and she signed to me with her hands. You better not change your mind. I smiled at her gently, just about to respond, when suddenly the giant screen behind me began flashing through a slideshow of me. Photos of me showering, showing my bare back. Images of me sleeping completely naked, side view and all. And at the end of the slideshow, a video started playing. In the video, I was holding one of Daisy's outfits. I pressed it against my face, sniffing it deeply, while using my other hand to pleasure myself. Daisy, I like you so much. The man in the video, me, looked like a deranged pervert, whispering a love confession while clutching a woman's clothes. In real life, I was falling apart. I stared at Daisy with complete despair. My heart twisted in agony. Just because I had called Daniel a lust-crazed animal, Daisy decided to publicly expose these private, intimate moments of mine. Like she was trying to prove to everyone that I, Ethan, was the one who couldn't control his urges, that I was the truly shameless one. Daisy, how could you do this? I'm a man. Was it really a crime that I once liked her so deeply? Why did she have to humiliate me like this? And in front of everyone? Who played that video? Turn it off. Turn it off right now. Old Master Wong was furious. He stormed forward to stop the video, only to find that no matter what he did, he couldn't shut it down. In the end, it was Clara who rushed up and smashed the projector. Only then did the screen finally go black. Who did this? Who the hell did this? Old Master Wong was trembling with rage. Lock the doors until we find out who's behind this. No one leaves. Master Wong, please don't get upset. One of the business partners stepped in to comfort him. Ethan and Daisy are going to get married anyway. Honestly, this video isn't that big of a deal. That's right. That's right. Ethan is a man after all, and married couples having their little kinks, we totally understand. But old Master Wong's face was still dark as thunder, because only he knew that Ethan's fiancée had already been switched. In the heavy silence, old Master Wong slowly lifted his head and looked solemnly toward Clara. He wanted to know Clara's decision. Receiving her future father-in-law's signal, Clara stepped forward. Without hesitation, she took my arm and declared loudly, "Ethan is marrying me, and I will not forgive anyone who tries to hurt him. Those videos, if anyone dares record them or leak them again, I swear I'll make sure you live in agony, unable to live or die." The moment her words landed, everyone stared at Clara in shock, especially Daisy and the 6 other childhood sweethearts. Their faces instantly went pale. Ethan actually picked her? You've got to be kidding. Everyone knows Ethan is madly in love with Daisy. How could he possibly choose Clara? Chapter 8. Among all my childhood sweethearts, the most shocked ones were, unsurprisingly, Daisy and Bella. "Ethan, are you kidding me?" Daisy said with a cold expression. "Is this because I gave End of Time to my little brother instead of you, and now you're throwing a tantrum to get back at me?" Bella also looked dissatisfied. "Ethan, why did you choose Clara? If you're just trying to spite Daisy, you could have chosen one of us. I'd gladly let you use me." Her expression was full of such deep affection that many people around were visibly moved. Bella really loves Ethan. I heard she even jumped off a building for him. Why didn't Ethan choose her? If a woman loved me that much, I'd marry her in a heartbeat. Everyone in a city knows Bella's madly in love with Ethan, but he's never once looked back at her. Everyone present was feeling indignant for Bella. They felt sorry for her, sorry that she gave her love to the wrong person, sorry that her love was unrequited. Listening to their sighs and sympathy, I couldn't help but smile. I turned my head slightly, met Bella's lovesick gaze and asked with a smile, "Bella, do you really love me that much?" "Of course," Bella answered without hesitation. "Ethan, I love you. I'd do anything for you, even die for you." I kept smiling. "You love me that much? Ah, but how come I heard that your little jump back then was actually meant to scare me away?" Bella's face instantly turned pale. Who? Who told you that? Was it Alicia?" "Ethan, don't listen to her nonsense. She's just making things up. I swear to God, I never said anything like that. I truly love you. No one in this world loves you more than I do." Bella was a great actress. For a moment, even I almost believed her. But unfortunately, I had already heard her true thoughts, so no matter how good her act was, it was useless. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her anymore. I simply pulled out a voice recorder and pressed play. That idiot Ethan probably thinks I'm head over heels in love with him. Truth is, I didn't jump off that building to confess anything. I just wanted to scare him off. Bella's mocking voice played from the recorder, and in that moment, the entire room was stunned. And in that instant, all color drained from Bella's face. "Bella, no one is spreading lies," I said calmly. "Those words came out of your own mouth. So stop pretending to be some hopeless romantic in front of me. It's just disgusting. Ethan, you've misunderstood." Bella's eyes quietly turned red with tears. "Actually, But before she could finish, Clara suddenly stepped forward and slapped her hard across the face. No one gets to call my fiancé an idiot in front of me, Clara declared fiercely. And for the record, I'm the one who loves Ethan the most in this world. The moment the word fiancé came out, Daisy's elegant brows furrowed sharply. Ethan, stop being ridiculous, Daisy said. The person you really want to marry isn't me. I'm willing to be your wife, and just like old Master Wong asked, I'll pamper you and love you for life. I'll be second only to you and above all others. So stop this nonsense. The SIU family is a business partner of the Wong family. Old Master Shu and Old Master Wong go way back. If you keep toying with Clara like this, it'll damage the relationship between the two families. Chapter 9. After hearing what Daisy said, I almost laughed out of sheer anger. I forced myself to hold back the heartache and said coldly, Daisy, you don't actually think that after everything that's happened, I'd still want to marry you, do you? You did something like that, and you still have the nerve to say you're willing to marry me? Well, maybe you're willing, but I'm not. My eyes, red with emotion, were filled with intense hatred. Daisy's heart gave a slight shudder. For someone who always kept a poker face, her wide eyes and stunned expression were shocking to see. Ethan, what are you saying? Why don't I understand? Drop the act, Daisy. I couldn't take it anymore. I pointed at the smashed projector and said in a voice on the verge of breaking, those photos and videos just now weren't they your doing? Daisy's heart trembled again. She, who always kept her emotions under control, now looked visibly shaken, her expression filled with disbelief. Ethan, you actually think I did that? There was a hidden sorrow in her voice. Didn't you? I growled through gritted teeth. Those photos weren't taken by me. They were candid shots. You know how to pick locks. Even if I lock my door from the inside, you can open it effortlessly. And that final video, from the angle, it must have been taken from surveillance. You're a top-tier hacker. Hijacking the home security cameras to spy on me? Child's play for you. I bit my lip so hard it almost bled, my eyes blazing. Stop pretending, Daisy. I know it was you. You're doing this just because I punched Daniel this morning, right? That's your idea of revenge. We grew up together. Even if you don't love me, we've spent years side by side. Today was my birthday party, and you chose this moment to humiliate me in front of everyone. Are you even human? My emotions grew more and more out of control as I spoke. By the time I got to the end, I couldn't stop myself. I raised my hand and slapped Daisy hard across her cold, beautiful face. Smack. The crisp sound echoed in the room, and a bright red handprint slowly appeared on her stunning features. The old man was furious, too. He leaned on his cane and tremblingly walked up to Daisy, demanding in a hoarse, angry voice. Daisy, is what Ethan said true? Were those photos and videos really your doing? For so many years, he had treated Daisy like his own daughter. Daisy was smart and capable. He had always admired her. He genuinely wanted his son to marry her. He had even considered letting Daisy inherit the Wong family corporation he had built from the ground up. But how could she do something so heartless? Old Master Wong didn't want to believe it. He wanted to hear it from Daisy's own mouth. Facing his question, Daisy didn't flinch. Calmly, she said, it wasn't me, Dad. Ethan is my fiancé. I truly want to marry him. If I really showed that stuff during his birthday party to humiliate him, wouldn't I be slapping my own face as well? Daisy didn't look like she was lying, but I couldn't trust her anymore, because she had already lied to me far too many times. I'll prove my innocence, Daisy said in a deep voice. Every move made online leaves a trace. Give me a computer, and I'll track the digital signal. I will find out who was behind this, and I'll tear them to pieces. Chapter 10. I didn't trust Daisy. I was afraid she might be scheming something in secret, so I had my dad bring in 2 more top-tier hackers to track the electronic signal together with Daisy. Ethan, you don't trust me? Daisy's pupils quivered slightly, and in her deep, unfathomable eyes, for the first time appeared a look of hurt. That's right. I don't trust you, I said coldly. You're not someone worthy of my trust. Daisy quietly clenched her fists, but soon loosened them again. Forget it. You're just angry right now. I'm not going to stoop to your level. I'll prove my innocence and regain your trust. After saying this, Daisy opened her laptop and began tracking the electronic source of those private photos and videos. Strings of green code flashed rapidly across the computer screen. Daisy's fingers danced across the keyboard, her expression more focused than ever before. The other 2 hackers were also working hard at their keyboards. but their skill and speed were far inferior to Daisy's. Soon, Daisy captured the only genuine signal source hidden in the ocean of data. Her gaze sharpened, and her pink lips curled up slightly. Got it. At once, everyone gathered around, filled with curiosity, as they tried to look at Daisy's screen. But the screen was filled with green code, and no one could make sense of it. Daisy, what does this mean? Old Master Wong asked. Who is the culprit? Daisy's expression suddenly froze. She stared fixedly at the last line of green code on the screen, and her face instantly turned pale and grim. An outsider might not understand it, but anyone with hacking skills could tell at a glance. The final line of code revealed the mastermind's current location, what model of phone they were using, and exactly what method they used to remotely control the projector, how they got it to play those photos and videos. Daisy's face turned as pale as paper. Before the other two hackers could come over to check, she quickly shut the laptop. There's no need to keep investigating, Daisy said loudly. I already know who the mastermind is. As she spoke, she strode forward and unceremoniously snatched away the laptops from the other two hackers. Daisy, what are you doing? I said angrily. Give their laptops back. I stepped forward trying to take the laptops back, but Daisy grabbed my hand. There's no need to keep checking, Daisy said. Because she paused slightly here, then lifted her head and looked deeply at Daniel, who was hiding in the crowd. Then she quickly withdrew her gaze and looked at me with endless guilt in her eyes. Because I'm the mastermind behind all of this. Ethan, you guessed right. It was me. Everything was done by me. Chapter 11. Daisy wanted to take all the blame upon herself, but the moment she opened her mouth, I had already guessed who the real mastermind was. Daisy, things have already gotten to this point, and you're still trying to cover for him? I felt as if my heart were bleeding. Daisy's dark eyes trembled slightly, but she still forced herself to say, I'm not covering for anyone. I'm the one behind all of this. Then why didn't you admit it from the beginning? I pressed her. You acted all righteous, pretending to help me trace the signal source. Now that the source has been tracked, and you suddenly confess? Don't you think that's way too suspicious? Daisy lowered her gaze. Her beautiful face was filled with restraint and suffering. She bit her lip. Even though she knew her excuse was full of holes, she still forced herself to continue. I was faking it at the time. I offered to help you trace the electronic signal to cover up the truth, so you wouldn't find out I was the one behind it. But I didn't expect you not to trust me and even bring in 2 more hackers to investigate alongside me. I couldn't keep acting anymore. Rather than wait for them to uncover the truth and expose me in public, I figured I'd confess myself. At least that would be more dignified. After Daisy finished speaking, the guests started whispering to each other. Was it really Daisy who did all this? Somehow it just doesn't feel right. Yeah, something seems off. It's like she's protecting someone. But who is she covering for? Who could possibly make the ice-cold goddess Daisy willingly take the fall? Listening to their chatter, I couldn't help but laugh. They didn't know who Daisy was protecting, but I did. There's only one person in this world who could make Daisy abandon her disregard all consequences and do everything she could to protect him. Daisy, do you really think that if you take all the blame, I'll just let that person go? I said coldly. After everything he's done to humiliate me, do you think I'll let him walk out that door unscathed? A look of pain flickered in Daisy's eyes. Ethan, I'm begging you, please let this end here. As long as you stop pursuing this, I'll do anything you ask. You like me, don't you? I can marry you. We can get married right away. Before Daisy could finish speaking, I suddenly burst into laughter. Ha ha, I can't take it. My stomach hurts from laughing. Daisy, who gave you the confidence to think that after everything that's happened, I'd still want to marry you? Daisy's dark eyes trembled. Ethan, but I didn't give her a chance to speak. I interrupted her directly. I stopped liking you a long time ago. You and Daniel make me sick. Chapter 12. Daisy lifted her head and met the look of utter disgust in my eyes. The revulsion blazing there was so intense that in that instant, Daisy finally understood what it meant for the heart to be sliced open. How could this be? Her mind froze. No matter how hard she tried, Daisy couldn't fathom why Ethan would stare at her with such loathing. Hadn't he liked her? Liked her so much that no matter how coldly she brushed him off, he still clung to her with a sunny smile, pestering her to do this or that. Liked her so much that though he was the heir of a powerful family, he had been willing to lower his pride and court her first? liked her so much that when others mocked him and called him her simp, he hadn't cared at all and had even answered proudly, "I just like Daisy. She's so outstanding." Ethan liking her is perfectly normal, isn't it? He had once liked her that much, so why was it that now the light in his eyes had gone dark, replaced by nothing but contempt? What on earth had happened? How had everything suddenly flipped like this? A sharp pain tore through Daisy's chest. She clutched her heart, the woman who was usually invincible panicking like a child, not knowing what to do. "You don't like me anymore?" Daisy locked her gaze on mine and enunciated every word. I don't believe it. He had liked her for so long. How could feelings just disappear at a single word? Since when was love so fragile? I let out a cold laugh. "Believe whatever you want." With that, I turned toward Daniel. Now that I knew he was behind all of this, I had no intention of letting him off easy. "Daniel, you bastard." Striding forward, I raised a fist and smashed it into Daniel's face. "I begged my dad to take you out of that orphanage, gave you good food and a good life, and you stab me in the back? You eat our food, spend our money, enjoy the young master comforts the Wong family provides, and behind the scenes you pull this disgusting stunt." I snarled as I pummeled Daniel again and again. Before long, his head was covered in blood. "Brother, stop. Please stop hitting me." Daniel sobbed and pleaded. "You're wronging me. I'm innocent. I didn't do anything." But how could I possibly believe him? Seeing Daniel still refuse to admit it, I drove a hard kick into his knee. The blow was fierce. His leg buckled, and with a dull thud, he collapsed to his knees. "Dad, I really didn't do anything," Daniel cried, turning to my father when he realized begging me was useless. "I'm innocent, Dad. You have to believe me. I don't know anything about computers, let alone how to control a projector remotely. Someone is framing me, Dad. Both Daisy and me." Seeing Daniel weeping so miserably, the old man's heart wavered. He had raised Daisy and Daniel with his own hands. He truly didn't want to believe they were involved in this. Tentatively, he asked, "Ethan, could there be a mistake? Daniel's only talent is studying. He really doesn't understand hacking or any of that computer stuff. How could he possibly be the one pulling the strings?" I stayed silent, merely turning to look at Daisy. "Are you going to announce the truth, or shall I?" I asked. "I have evidence that proves Daniel orchestrated all of this. But my proof is ruthless. Once I make it public, Daniel is finished. Daisy, Daniel, this is your last chance. Confess on your own, and I can at least let you die with a shred of dignity." Chapter 13. As I kept pressing forward, the look on Daisy's face grew more and more pained. Unable to stand it any longer, she burst out, "Ethan, you've already beaten Daniel to this state. Isn't that enough? Let's end this here. If we really tear each other apart, it won't benefit anyone." That last line even carried a subtle hint of threat. The other girls chimed in at once. "Ethan, even if you're the Wong family's eldest young master, you can't go this far. Look at what you've done to Daniel." "Exactly. No evidence, and you start swinging? What kind of manners is that? Daniel may be an orphan, but orphans are people, too. He doesn't deserve to be treated like dirt." They formed a wall in front of Daniel, as though he were the one who had dragged them out of the mire. But in truth, it was my father who adopted them. It was my family's money and effort that turned each of them into elegant socialites. The Wong family gave them seed capital and connections so they could play the stock market and start businesses, completing their first round of capital accumulation. If not for me, Ethan, my dad never would have taken them in. They'd still be in the orphanage making mud pies. Eh? I let out a cold laugh, sweeping my gaze over the women. "Stop bouncing around so happily. Once I release the evidence in my hand, every last one of you is dead." My childhood sweethearts froze. They traded glances, then stared at me, wary. "Ethan, what do you mean? You can't seriously think we're behind this, too, can you?" I didn't answer directly. Smiling, I pulled a USB drive from my shirt pocket. I hadn't planned to go this far. "But Daniel, this is what you asked for." I gave Daniel a frosty glance, then raised my voice. "Since you dared to broadcast my private photos in public, I'll show everyone something even more exciting. Someone bring a new projector." At my command, the servants hurried in with fresh equipment. Still smiling, I plugged in the USB drive. Over a month ago, I installed pinhole cameras and listening devices in every corner of the villa, I explained, letting my eyes slide over the childhood sweethearts one by one. At first, I just wanted to hear how you mocked me behind my back. But besides your ugly words, I ended up recording some other interesting things. Daisy and Daniel's faces went ashen. The other 6 girls' expressions were equally vivid, some guilty, some furious, some cracking on the spot. Ethan, how could you secretly film us? That's way over the line. I answered coolly. Installing cameras in my own house to guard against thieves? How is that over the line? With that, I ignored these ungrateful wretches and ordered the servants to start the playback. Sis, you're amazing. A man's moan filled the room as Daniel's flushed, eager face appeared on screen. He was thrusting roughly over a woman, and that woman was not Daisy. Chapter 14. Sis, you're amazing. I love this so much. On screen, Daniel and Alicia arrived together, both completely naked, brazenly having sex in the back garden. Daniel, if Daisy saw us like this, would she lose her mind? Alicia asked with a wicked grin. No way. Daniel laughed while thrusting furiously. Daisy's just my sister. Nothing but a sibling bond between us, sis. Alicia, the one I've always loved is you. In the video, Daniel confessed to Alicia with heartfelt devotion. Outside the video, Daisy's face turned terrifyingly grim in that instant. Daniel screamed, rushing forward to shut off the projector. Stop it. Don't play anymore. This video is fake. All of it's fake. I never did anything like this. But before he could reach the machine, Wong family servants pinned him down. I let out a chilly chuckle. Turn off the projector? Not a chance. The really juicy part is still ahead. No sooner had I spoken than the footage changed. Daniel was now entwined with another childhood sweetheart. Sis, you're incredible. Daniel pressed atop Maria, pumping away. I love you so much. You're the only woman for me. From the first moment I saw you at the orphanage, I fell deeply in love. You're my everything. The sight left everyone gaping. They'd thought Daniel was just a horny teenager fooling around with Alicia. Who could have guessed he'd slept with every single one of the childhood sweethearts? Good heavens. Did Daniel really bed all of Ethan's women? My worldview is in shards. Wasn't Daniel a pure, innocent boy? How could he do this? I always thought Daniel was kind and naive, untouched by the world. Who knew he was playing this wild in private? The crowd buzzed while Daniel looked utterly desperate. Brother, please turn it off. Daniel sobbed and begged. I admit it. Your private photos, everything, it was all me. I'm wrong. I confess it all. Punish me however you want. Just please stop the video. Hearing his plea, the corners of my mouth lifted. After being stifled for so many days, I could finally hold my head high. Now you understand what it feels like when someone's private life is dragged into the open, don't you? I sneered. Only now you admit fault. Where was that conscience of yours earlier, when you splashed my private photos on the screen? Did you ever think about how I would feel? Today is my birthday. My father, every relative, every friend is here. Even my fiancé is present. You chose to expose my privacy in front of the people I love most. Just how vicious do you have to be to commit something so utterly heartless? Now you know humiliation. Now you feel shame. Only when the knife is stuck into your own flesh do you realize it hurts. Too late. Keep the video rolling. Our grand finale hasn't even started. And that finale, of course, is the footage of Daisy getting intimate with Daniel. The two of them have always claimed to the outside world that they're brother and sister. Imagine the shock once that video goes public. Chapter 15. Daisy seemed to realize at last what I meant by the grand finale. Her face icy, she stepped forward. Ethan, that's enough. I swung backhand and slapped her, sending her staggering to the floor. Daisy, what right do you have to tell me to stop? I glared at her. There was no love or ache left in my eyes, only a fury I could no longer contain. You knew perfectly well Daniel was behind all this, yet you still tried to shield him? You never spared a thought for my feelings, never wondered what showing those photos and videos in public would do to me. All you see is Daniel. All you want is to protect Daniel. So since you never cared about my feelings, why should I care about yours? I gave a short laugh. Enjoy the final gift I'm giving you, Daisy. It's what you deserve. Daisy wobbled, trembling a step back. Ethan, she didn't get to finish. A collective gasp erupted from the crowd. Oh my God. Is that Daisy in the video? Daisy and Daniel? Aren't they supposed to be brother and sister? How could they? That pair is disgusting. That's outright incest. Poor Ethan. Just look at the pack of heartless curses he raised. As his 7 childhood sweethearts, The footage rolled to its end, and sure enough, Daisy and Daniel's faces filled the screen, entwined in a fevered kiss. The scene shattered everyone's worldview. The guests exploded. Some hot-blooded souls hurled their wine glasses at Daniel. "You shameless beast, seducing your own sister. Unbelievable. The Wong family kindly adopted you, and you schemed to bed the young master's childhood sweethearts? He even leaked the young master's private photos. What a vile man." Shouting, people snatched food from the banquet table and pelted Daniel in anger. Daniel, like a criminal paraded for public humiliation in ancient times, was soon bloodied from the barrage. A few felt food wasn't enough. One swung a bottle of wine and smashed it down on Daniel's head. Bang! The wine bottle struck true, shattering on impact. Glass shards and sticky red wine sprayed across Daniel, the jagged fragments cutting as the alcohol soaked his clothes. His forehead split open, blood mingled with the filthy wine and trickled down, burning every wound it touched. "Stop! Please stop throwing things," Daniel sobbed, raising his arms to shield himself from the barrage. Unable to fend off the onslaught, he turned instinctively to Daisy for help. "Sis, save me." But Daisy no longer rushed to protect him. She stared down at Daniel with icy eyes and said nothing. Crying, Daniel crawled toward her. "Sis, didn't you say you'd protect me forever? We've been together since we were kids, never apart. Sis, I beg you help me. I know you won't abandon me." Chapter 16. Daniel clung desperately to Daisy's long, slender legs, begging for mercy. But this time, there was no trace of pity in Daisy's eyes as she looked at him. She looked down at Daniel from above, then raised her foot and coldly kicked him away. "You still remember that all these years I've always been the one protecting you?" Daisy said in a chilling voice. Her gaze locked onto Daniel, and the pain in her eyes was clearly genuine. "Daniel, I treated you so well, and how did you repay me?" She stepped toward him, one step at a time, her powerful presence pressing down on him so hard that Daniel could barely breathe. Daniel trembled as he backed away. "Sister, you misunderstood. I was lying to them. I never loved them. The one I truly love has always been you. I was just using them, manipulating them into chasing after Ethan so you wouldn't have to marry him." Daniel forced himself to suppress the fear in his heart, then crawled toward Daisy again, crying. "Sister, you have to believe me. Everything I did it so I could be with you." But unfortunately, those words clearly didn't convince Daisy. Her expression cold as ice, she kicked Daniel away again, without a shred of hesitation. "Shut up, you disgusting bastard." After taking 2 full-force kicks, Daniel clutched his stomach in agony. "It hurts, sister. How can you treat me like this?" But in the very next second, Daisy stepped in front of him and slammed another kick right into his stomach. "Daniel, do you know what I hate the most?" Daisy grabbed a fistful of his hair, forcing him to look up at her. "What I hate the most is that at the beginning, I truly treated you like my real little brother. During the hardest days at the orphanage, I was so hungry, my stomach was cramping, but I still gave you every last bit of food I had. Because you told me that blood doesn't matter, that love makes a family. You said even if the whole world abandoned us, at least we'd still have each other, that we'd always have each other." Hearing those words, Alicia suddenly burst out emotionally from the side. "Son of a bitch. He said the exact same thing to me, too. It was because of those words that I fell in love with him. I was abandoned since I was a child, with no family around me. I was desperate to cling to something, and that's when Daniel appeared. He told me he loved me. He said it didn't matter if the whole world gave up on me, because we'd still have each other." As soon as she said that, the other childhood sweethearts chimed in, too. "He told me the exact same thing. This bastard. He tricked us. He preyed on our emotional scars from being abandoned by our parents. He took advantage of all of us." Chapter 17. The girls looked at each other in shock. After comparing notes, they finally realized they were never Daniel's one and only. They were just fish in his pond. Damn it, we all got played by Daniel. I thought everyone else just had a crush on him, and I was the only one who actually had him. I never expected he slept with all of us. I'm so pissed. He even used the exact same lines on each of us. That bastard. I gave up Ethan for him. Gave up everything. How could he treat me like this?" In an instant, fury erupted among the childhood sweethearts. No longer able to suppress their rage, they charged at Daniel and began to beat him mercilessly. Surrounded by a storm of fists and kicks, Daniel was soon covered in blood. But even that wasn't enough. Their hatred ran so deep, it felt like only beating him to death could even begin to ease the pain in their hearts. In the end, it was old Master Wong who, fearing someone might actually get killed, ordered the bodyguards to pull them off him. "Dad, don't stop me. I have to kill this bastard with my own hands." Alicia screamed, her voice hoarse with fury. "If it weren't for him, I could have fallen in love with Ethan. Ethan is such a good man. How could I not like him? But before you adopted me, Daniel had already deceived me. He acted like he was kind and gentle, and fooled me into thinking he really cared. Told me that the world might abandon me, but he never would. That he was the only one who truly loved me. That he would never leave me. How could I not fall for him? I was abandoned as a child. The world is so big, and there are so many people in it. But all I ever wanted was one person who would love me forever. Is that really so wrong?" Hearing her words, the other girls couldn't help but show the same overwhelming sadness. Clearly, they all felt the same. Ethan was wonderful, flawless even, but he wasn't an orphan. He didn't understand what it meant to be abandoned, to grow up as a broken soul with a scarred heart. They had no family, no real friends. Other people had roots, connections to the world, but theirs had been severed the moment their parents left them behind. That's why they were so desperate to hold on to something, to prove to the world that they too were loved. And Daniel had taken advantage of exactly that. Back when Daisy and the others first arrived at the orphanage, he struck while they were vulnerable, grabbing their hands and making promises. "Even if the whole world abandons you, it's okay because you still have me. If we have each other, it's as good as having the whole world." For these shattered girls, how could their hearts not be moved? What they didn't know was that this single moment of vulnerability would go on to destroy their entire lives. "Enough. Any more of this, and someone's going to die." Old Master Wong's voice was low and commanding. "I understand. You're all furious because you were deceived. But today is my son's birthday. My son has done nothing wrong to any of you. If you have grudges to settle, do it in private. Don't make a scene at my son's birthday banquet and taint his eyes with your nonsense." He paused for a moment, his gaze sharp and filled with unshakable authority as he swept over the 7 childhood sweethearts. Then his voice turned cold. "Originally, I planned to wait until after Ethan and Clara's wedding to announce this decision. But your behavior today utterly disgusts me. Ethan was right. The Wong family doesn't feed freeloaders, much less raise ungrateful traitors. As of today, you are no longer connected to the Wong family in any way. Now get out immediately." Chapter 18. After Old Master Wong gave the order for them to leave, the girls panicked. "Dad, what do you mean by that? Are you really kicking us out?" "Dad, we were just blinded by Daniel. We're not ungrateful traitors. Please, Dad, we realize our mistakes. Now we're begging you, please give us another chance. Let us stay and repay your kindness." The childhood sweethearts pleaded with genuine emotion, but Old Master Wong remained unmoved. "I don't need your repayment," he said coldly. "From the day I adopted you, I told you I expect nothing from you. You don't owe me anything. The only thing I asked for, the one and only thing, was that you wholeheartedly love my son. That was my only request, just one, and even that you couldn't fulfill. On the surface, you acted obedient toward my son, but behind his back you mocked him, ridiculed him. With such two-faced behavior, I can't begin to express how disappointed I am in you." His words made all the girls lower their heads in shame. "You're right, Dad. We were terrible," Alicia said with reddened eyes. Among the 7 childhood sweethearts, she had the worst temper, but also the most straightforward personality. Now faced with Old Master Wong scolding, she couldn't contain her shame and rage at herself. Right in front of everyone, she slapped herself hard across the face. "My biological parents abandoned me, but you took me in. You gave me a warm and loving home. But I couldn't even fulfill the only thing you asked of me. I truly don't deserve to stay in the Wong family any longer." As she spoke, she slapped herself twice more loud, unforgiving strikes. Then she dropped to her knees with a thud, kowtowed 3 times, the sound of her forehead hitting the floor echoing in the hall. "Old Master Wong, I will never forget what you've done for me. If you're willing, I want to stay and serve Wong Group with everything I've got. I'll work myself to the bone for the rest of my life to repay your kindness. But if you never want to see me again, I'll leave now, and from this day forward, Any company I start will be a subsidiary of Wong Group. Half of every cent I earn will go unconditionally to the Wong Group. In the face of Alicia's heartfelt loyalty and devotion, Old Master Wong could only let out a heavy sigh. "Leave," he said. "I cannot forgive anyone who has hurt my son." With those words, Alicia knew no matter what she did, she could not stay. She rose in silence, then turned around, and finally, she bent her proud knees toward me. "Ethan, the person I've wronged the most in this life is you," she said, eyes filled with tears. "I should have loved you with all my heart, but instead I let Daniel blind me. I gave you no honesty, only pain. Ethan, I know you won't forgive me easily, but I still have to say it. I'm sorry." As she spoke, Alicia slapped herself twice more, loud, unforgiving strikes. Then she dropped to her knees with a thud, kowtowed 3 times, the sound of her forehead hitting the floor echoing in the hall. "Old Master Wong, I will never forget what you've done for me. If you're willing, I want to stay and serve Wong Group with everything I've got. I'll work myself to the bone for the rest of my life to repay your kindness. But if you never want to see me again, I'll leave now, and from this day forward, any company I start will be a subsidiary of Wong Group. Half of every cent I earn will go unconditionally to the Wong Group." In the face of Alicia's heartfelt loyalty and devotion, Old Master Wong could only let out a heavy sigh. "Leave," he said. "I cannot forgive anyone who has hurt my son." With those words, Alicia knew no matter what she did, she could not stay. She rose in silence, then turned around, and finally, she bent her proud knees toward me. "Ethan, the person I've wronged the most in this life is you," she said, eyes filled with tears. "I should have loved you with all my heart, but instead I let Daniel blind me. I gave you no honesty, only pain. Ethan, I know you won't forgive me easily, but I still have to say it. I'm sorry." As she spoke, Alicia dropped to her knees and gave me a deep, solemn bow, her forehead hitting the floor with a heavy thud. "Ethan, there's still a long road ahead in life, and I'll spend the rest of mine making up for what I've done. If one day you're willing to see me again, just give me a call. My number will never change. I'll wait a lifetime for that one call from you. No matter what happens in the future, no matter what trouble you face, if you come to me, I'll walk through fire and blades for you, without hesitation." After speaking, Alicia gave me one more heavy bow, then stood up and walked away alone, completely and utterly alone. Chapter 19. As everyone watched Alicia's lonely figure fade into the distance, a wave of sighs and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Honestly, Alicia's a good kid too. She was just deceived by Daniel. To recognize your mistakes and try to correct them, that takes courage. She really meant what she said. Did Old Master Wong really have to be that ruthless? There's no helping it. Old Master Wong's a hardcore son lover. Maybe he could forgive other things, but hurting his son, that's the ultimate taboo. There's no coming back from that. Amidst the murmurs, the remaining childhood sweethearts exchanged glances, then one by one they followed Alicia's example and knelt before Old Master Wong. "Old Master Wong, I know I no longer deserve to call you Dad, but in my heart you'll always be my father. I understand you won't forgive me, but I can't pretend your kindness never happened. Like Alicia, from this day forward, every company I build will be a subsidiary of Wong Group, and every cent I earn, 50% no, 60% will go to the Wong Group without condition." After kowtowing 3 times each to Old Master Wong, they stood up, then turned solemnly toward me and knelt once more. "Ethan, I never actually hated you. You're a good person, honestly the best person I've ever known. The reason we mocked you behind your back wasn't because we disliked you. It was because Daniel kept comparing himself to you, and every time, he ended up feeling insecure and anxious. We only said we hated you to give him a false sense of security. We're sorry, Ethan. We were so focused on feeding Daniel's vanity that we never stopped to think how you felt. I know it's too late now. The damage is already done. We don't deserve your forgiveness, but if one day you're in trouble, just like Alicia said, one phone call, and I'll walk through fire for you without a second thought. My number will never change either, and before I die, I hope I'll get to hear your voice call my name again. That alone would feel like coming home." One by one, my childhood sweethearts said their goodbyes, then turned and walked away alone with heavy hearts. In the end, only 2 remained from the original 7, Bella and Daisy. Bella's eyes quietly turned red with emotion. She didn't kneel before Old Master Wong, nor did she speak to him. Instead, She looked at me, her face full of sorrow. Ethan, I wasn't in that video, Bella said through a choked voice. I've always liked you. That's never changed, not even once. Hearing her words, I couldn't help but pause for a moment. I thought back carefully and realized that in all those videos involving Daniel, Bella really wasn't in any of them. She was the only one who hadn't been seduced by him. After a brief silence, I frowned and asked, if you truly liked me, then why did you mock me with the others? A wave of bitterness washed over Bella's face. She let out a sorrowful laugh, then said, I originally planned to pretend I hated you to push the other girls away from you. That way you'd belong to me alone. But in the end, the plan backfired, and you overheard those awful things I said. Chapter 20. Bella had a nickname, the Smiling Tiger. She always wore a charming smile on her face, but behind it was the heart of a devil, cloaked in a saint's guise. She could end someone's life while chatting and laughing, and send someone straight to hell, all while still smiling. Her words were always half-truths, half-lies. Even someone like Daisy couldn't tell when Bella was being honest and when she was lying. Maybe it was because she was just too good at lying. So when Daniel once held Bella's hand with that fake, innocent expression and said, it doesn't matter if the world abandons you, I'll always love you. As long as we're together, we can take on anything. Bella saw right through it. In an instant, he didn't love her. He only wanted to use her. She would never be his one and only, not now, not ever. Every lie Daniel told was weak and transparent in Bella's eyes. She could see through them all without even trying. And so deep down, she despised him. But there was a reason she was called the Smiling Tiger. Even if she was disgusted inside, on the surface, she still wore that radiant smile. She never showed that disgust. Instead, she used Daniel, and used him to tie Daisy down tight. Come on, Daniel, don't be naive about this whole sibling love thing. You and Daisy aren't even blood-related. That kind of sibling bond without blood ties, it's fragile. Sooner or later, she's going to leave you. Ethan is so handsome, so perfect, he's going to win Daisy over eventually, and when that happens, you'll be all alone. If I were you, I'd make the first move. Daisy's a conservative girl. Once you sleep with her, she won't be able to leave you. Oh, but I'm just talking nonsense. Don't take it seriously. That's such a dirty trick. You better not turn bad. In the name of being a caring older sister, Bella secretly planted the seed in Daniel's mind. She coaxed him, pushed him into drugging Daisy, and everything unfolded exactly as planned. Daniel became Daisy's man. Daisy's mindset truly was conservative. In her worldview, once something that intimate had happened, you had to take responsibility, especially when the one she had slept with was the boy she'd grown up with, the younger brother she had once depended on with all her heart. In truth, Daisy had always seen Daniel as just a little brother. But ever since that one irreversible night, everything between them had changed, and Daisy had been in pain ever since, torn and conflicted. On one hand, she truly saw Daniel as family. On the other hand, emotionally and rationally, she couldn't accept being with him in that way. On the other hand, she had slept with Daniel. Daniel was the most important person in her life. How could she just abandon him? And so she remained torn, conflicted. Her feelings toward Daniel were tangled, distorted, a blur of duty, guilt, and pain. But Ethan, he was different. The love Ethan gave her was always warm, always bright. It was like the blazing sun in the height of summer, melting away all the frost the moment it appeared. How she wished she could love Ethan that kind of love, passionate, radiant. Who wouldn't long for it? But how could she love Ethan? She already had Daniel. She couldn't betray him. She could betray the entire world, but not Daniel, because once in her own stubborn way, she had made him her entire world. And now that world had betrayed her. Her whole world had turned on her. Ethan. Daisy walked up to me in a daze, her eyes red and brimming with tears. She gave a broken, fragile smile. Is it already too late for me to win you back? If I kneeled right now and begged for your forgiveness, would you take me back? If I gave you my life, would you still love me? Please, Ethan, don't be so cruel. Just give me one more chance. But before the words of pleading could even leave her lips, I had already answered, my voice cold, unwavering. Yes, it's too late. As I spoke, I smiled, gently, and took Clara's hand in mine. Because I've already chosen Clara. I'm going to marry her. I'll be her husband. Chapter 21. The most heartbreaking thing in this world isn't that you never loved me, but that when you did, I was too blind to notice, and by the time I finally realized it, by the time I was ready to dig out my heart and hand it to you, you told me you no longer loved me. Pain hit so violently that Daisy clutched her chest and suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. Everyone was stunned. Even I instinctively reached out, wanting to catch her, but I forced myself to stop. I didn't move because I had already let go. From this moment on, no matter what became of Daisy, I no longer cared. Haha. Daisy laughed wildly, the blood trailing slowly from the corner of her lips. Her skin was so pale, she looked almost inhuman. I really am the biggest fool in the world. Still laughing, Daisy turned around. Then step by step, she walked out of the Wong estate alone. Daniel had already been thrown out by the household staff, but Bella stayed behind. Old Master Wong, the only thing you ever asked of me, I fulfilled it, Bella said calmly. I loved Ethan more than anyone else ever could. I truly would have given my life for him. It's just, I didn't love him openly. I loved him in a dark, shameful way, and that's why I lost. But I never once hurt Ethan. Every time he was sad, I was always the first one to comfort him. If he was upset, I'd try everything I could to make him smile, even if it meant taking a knife for him. If it made him smile, it'd be worth it. As she said that, a single tear slid down her cheek. Her voice trembled as she continued. You might not believe me, but Ethan has always been my salvation. I'm an illegitimate child. My mother died giving birth to me. My father brought me into his home, but he never loved me. He didn't even want me. He and his wife would beat and curse me every single day. One day I couldn't take it anymore. I ran away. I lived on the streets for a long time until the police found me and sent me to the orphanage. I thought I'd spend the rest of my life wandering like that. Until that day, Ethan walked into the orphanage. He looked like an angel, so beautiful, so pure. When he walked up to me, I genuinely thought I must be dreaming. And then, Ethan, you took my hand and said, "Don't be afraid. Let's go home together." In that moment, I knew I had found my salvation. Bella had always been an expert liar, and precisely because of that, she could instantly tell who was lying and who was telling the truth. Daniel had once tried to trick her, too, using the same sweet lies he told everyone else, but she didn't fall for it. Instead, she turned it around and played him, trapped him in his own game. But the moment Ethan got close to her, she knew he wasn't lying. Unlike the rest of them girls, who'd crawled through the filth of the world since childhood, Ethan was too clean, too bright, too pure. How could she not love him? If he were willing to look at her even once more, she would gladly give up her life for him. Old Master Wong, Bella said quietly, I don't want to leave. Even if Ethan doesn't choose me in the end, I still want to stay by his side for the rest of my life, as his eternal number 2. So please let me stay. I can help run the Wong Group. I don't need power, I don't need status. Just let me be the second in command who guards everything for Ethan. Her words, sincere and unwavering, finally moved Old Master Wong. He agreed to adopt her as his daughter and let her stay in the Wong family. After all, she was the only one who truly, deeply loved his son. But someone in the crowd muttered, Still, isn't it too easy to just let Daniel go like that? Hearing that, I let out a cold laugh. Don't worry, I said. Even if we don't deal with him, there are plenty of others who will. After all, Daisy and the other 5 childhood sweethearts weren't the kind to let things go. Daniel had played them all like fools. There's no way they'd let him off lightly. So I didn't need to dirty my own hands. All I had to do was sit back and enjoy the show. Chapter 22. 1 month later, Clara and I held a grand wedding, a celebration more extravagant than anything the city had ever seen. The atmosphere was lively and overwhelming. Every influential figure in City A came to attend. Clara proudly declared the wedding banquet would last 3 full days and nights. She wanted the entire world to know she had married the man of her dreams. Alicia and the other 4 childhood sweethearts came too, but none of them stepped inside, afraid that their presence might upset me or Old Master Wong. They quietly left behind their wedding gifts, then vanished without a word. The gifts were lavish, each one worth a fortune. This was all they could do for me now, to give a gift and leave quietly, to no longer disturb my life. At 10 a.m. sharp, the ceremony officially began. Dozens of fireworks exploded overhead, filling the sky with vibrant bursts, and then among them, appeared a massive line of blue smoke-formed letters. Congratulations, Ethan, Clara. Wishing you a lifetime of happiness. Just as the crowd was immersed in celebration, Daisy appeared. It had only been a month, but when I saw her again, I almost didn't recognize her. Daisy's hair had turned completely white overnight. Her face was pale and thin, her whole being fragile, like a delicate snow doll on a winter day, ready to shatter at the slightest touch. Ethan, can I have an hour of your time? Daisy said. I just want to talk to you. My father's face darkened instantly. Before I could respond, he stepped forward and barked. Daisy, the Wong family has never wronged you. Please leave immediately and stop harassing my son. Today is his wedding. If you have even a shred of decency left, you should have done what the others did. Leave your gift and quietly walk away, not show up here to cause trouble. Daisy gave a bitter smile. Don't worry, old master, she said. I'll leave soon. I just want a few private words with Ethan. Once I've said what I need to say, I'll disappear. I looked at her coldly. There's nothing left for us to say, Daisy. Daisy smiled. She locked eyes with me, gaze soft yet obsessed. Ethan, 1 hour? No, just 10 minutes. 10 minutes alone with you, and then I'll vanish from your world forever. Her voice carried a quiet desperation, but my eyes remained cold, unmoved. I won't even give you 1 minute. A sharp pain tore through her chest again. Daisy clutched her heart. So this is what it feels like to be pierced by 1,000 arrows. Ethan, she murmured, if you're really this heartless, then don't blame me. She smiled, still smiling, and as she spoke, she began unbuttoning her coat. When the buttons came undone, everyone froze. Strapped to her body was a time bomb. For a few seconds, no one moved. Then panic erupted. Some screamed. Others turned and ran for the exit. Old Master Wong's face turned green. Daisy, what the hell are you doing? Still smiling, Daisy replied. I just want 10 minutes. 10 minutes to say goodbye to Ethan, and then I'll leave. There's nothing Ethan has to say to you. Old Master Wong roared, his voice shaking with fury. You're insane. You strapped a bomb to yourself. Do you really think I'd let my son anywhere near you? Daisy's voice turned icy, filled with a chilling calm. Then I guess I'll have to detonate the bomb. We'll all die together. Chapter 23. Even though Daisy threatened to kill herself, Clara and Grandpa Wong still wouldn't let me go over. After all, Daisy had gone so far as to strap explosives to herself. Clearly, she wasn't in a sane mental state. What if she lost it completely and decided to take me with her in a murder-suicide? It was just too dangerous. But if she sets off the explosives here, at this distance, I'd definitely die, too, I said. And she'd take everyone else down with me. Dad, Clara, please just let me go. Daisy's done a lot of terrible things, yes, but she's always been someone who keeps her word. She said if I go over, she won't detonate the bomb, and I believe she'll keep that promise. I insisted on going, and in the end, Clara and my dad had no choice. They reluctantly agreed, but they made a condition. Daisy and I had to stay in their line of sight at all times. We couldn't go too far. Fine. Daisy agreed without hesitation. Then she led me to the top floor of the hotel. The wind was howling. Daisy stood at the edge of the rooftop, her face full of sorrow as she looked at me. And as she stared, tears suddenly started falling from her eyes. Ethan, Daisy said, if only I'd met you sooner. I didn't say anything. I just turned my head and looked off into the distance. The truth is, I love you, Daisy said, tears streaming continuously. You were like a ray of light, shining into the pitch-black darkness of my life. But I couldn't allow myself to betray Daniel. I thought since he came into my life first, I should love him with all my heart. No matter how amazing you were, I couldn't betray him. I had to put him first in everything. I had to treat him as my entire world. That to me was what true, everlasting love meant. But I never expected him to be a liar. I was such a fool. The biggest fool in the world. At that, I couldn't help but sigh. Daisy, what's done is done. There's no point in talking about it now. I once loved you, but that love has been worn down completely by your betrayal and coldness. Now I feel nothing for you. I hope you'll stop clinging to me. Let's part on decent terms, give each other a bit of dignity. Hearing this, Daisy gave a sorrowful smile. She choked out, Don't worry, Ethan, I won't bother you anymore. I just wanted to speak with you one last time before I go. Unlike the other childhood sweethearts, they all had parents. But I didn't. I never met mine, not even once. I don't have any family, no close friends. My entire world used to revolve around Daniel. Then you came into my life. You brought me home. I've never said it out loud before, but I truly saw you and Grandpa Wong as my own family. If Daniel had never existed, I think we would have had a completely different ending. Ethan, have you ever heard of the theory of parallel universes? Maybe in another timeline, without Daniel standing between us, you would have been my only salvation, and I would have loved you like you were my whole world. We could have had that kind of ending. But sadly, all of that was just a what if in reality. Everything had changed people, the world we once shared. Ethan, you did love me once, didn't you? Daisy asked, her voice suddenly urgent, as if she desperately needed confirmation. I was silent for a moment, then finally I nodded. I once saw you as my whole world, too. Hearing that, Daisy finally smiled. It was no longer a smile of despair, but one of peace and quiet contentment. To have been loved by you, I'm truly honored, Daisy said. It's just a shame I realized everything too late. I missed my chance with you. If there's a next life, I hope I'll have the chance to love you again. As soon as she said that, Daisy suddenly pulled me into a tight hug, and then, holding the back of my head, she kissed me. Chapter 24. Daisy, what are you doing? Seeing Daisy suddenly kiss me, Clara panicked. She rushed forward, trying to tear Daisy away from me, but Bella held her back. Maybe others didn't understand, but Bella, also an orphan, knew all too well what Daisy was about to do. This might be the one and only time in her life that she'd ever kissed the one she loved. After a kiss that nearly took my breath away, Daisy finally let me go. She pushed me away with all her strength and smiled. Ethan, don't be sad for me. Don't shed tears. I'm not worth it. And with that, she turned around and, without a second's hesitation, jumped off the rooftop. This time she didn't need wings to fly. Daisy, I lunged forward, trying to catch her, but my hands closed around nothing but air. I saw Daisy falling with a smile, and in the next second, she hit the ground, shattered to pieces. Once Daniel was her whole world, but Daniel betrayed her. Once, I could have been her salvation, but she betrayed me. 2 betrayals had severed all her ties to this world. No family, no friends, no one left to care about. What was left of her life would have been nothing but pain, and she simply couldn't bear it anymore. How could someone's fate be so tragic? From the moment she was born, she was utterly alone. No attachments, no warmth. She spent her entire life just hoping to find someone who would love her forever, someone who would never betray her. And when she finally found that person, it was already too late. A life like that, maybe it wasn't worth holding on to. In that final moment, as she leapt into the air, Daisy thought, if only I could travel to a universe where Daniel never existed. If only Ethan had been the first person I met. But life doesn't work with what-ifs. She had missed her chance. Before she died, Daisy had removed the explosive strap from her body, so her death harmed no one else. Clara and I eventually got married. Bella took it upon herself to handle Daisy's burial. Daisy, when you were alive, I honestly really hated you. Standing in front of Daisy's tombstone, Bella took out a bottle of liquor. She poured half of it onto the ground and down the other half herself. But now I kind of understand you. To spend your whole life just trying to find someone to grow old with, that's not easy. We both had our shot at staying with Ethan, and we both let it slip away. Ethan is happy now, so rest in peace. People are born alone, but I won't follow you down that road. I'll carry this loneliness. And for you, for all of us, I'll stay behind and protect Ethan. You know, maybe all this happened because of me. When I die, I'll make it up to you in the afterlife. At that, Bella paused. She tapped the bottle lightly against Daisy's gravestone in a toast. Daisy, see you in hell.